You're watching GearWire.com. I'm Owen O'Malley, and I'm here in Wrigleyville, historic Wrigleyville, with Chrissy Murderbot. So you kind of got into DJing in Chicago?
No, I grew up in Kansas City, and I got into DJing, in the early mid-90s in Kansas City, and then, I've only lived in Chicago for about 4 years, yeah.
Do you DJ a lot, though, in town here?
I do, yeah.
What's your experience of this scene, like the Chicago club scene versus other cities that you've traveled to?
It's difficult here. Here in New York, it's difficult. It's difficult to get paid much, and it's difficult to get people to come out because, this is the birthplace of house music, and there's such an amazing electronic music scene, and there's so many legends who just live here and are just legends of dance music, that the idea of paying an up-and-coming local talent a fair amount of money to put on a show, why would you pay DJ X, $200 or $500 or $1,000 when you can get literally the guy who invented house music to come play for that same amount of money? Yeah. You don't have to book a flight for him. You don't have to get him a hotel. You just call him and say, "Hey, you want to come up north for
we'll cover your cab fare."
Yeah, right. And so it makes it. You have that push from the top that pushes down how much DJs can make here. And then you have a push from the bottom of, iPod DJs and kind of, your hipster, house party circuit. And those guys will work for nothing. They'll play for zero money. And so then there's, why would we pay a professional X amount of money when we can get an amateur for free, And so you have kind of mega clubs that have Frankie Knuckles or Ralphie Rosario playing every night, and then you have local bars where it's DJ open mic night every night, So for people who are who do this professionally, but aren't world famous jet setting super duper stars, it's difficult here in a way that it's not difficult in Los Angeles or London, other cities.
Places that didn't have a scene that they birthed, kind of?
Well, places that don't have as many kind of local legends sitting around willing to play on the cheap, Yeah. In London, they gave birth to dubstep and jungle and UK garage and grime, but those guys, they won't play cheap. They'll just say, no, pay me what
It's like you've got a couple of people who are kind of dictating the market for...
Yeah, there's so many of them, Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So what do you do? Especially with democratization of music production technology. How do you stay competitive? What do you do?
I play out of town a lot.
There you go.
It's I play out of town a lot, and usually when I play a gig here, it's either something that I'm doing because it'll be fun, or something Awesome. This is actually going to be a hilarious interview. If you just say, and this is what we had to deal with, and literally just, don't even try and hide it. Just,
No,
I like this.
Just cheesy wipes of, trains and ambulances.
Undoubtedly.
Oh, yeah.
So you play out of town a lot to stay competitive, basically.
I play out of town a lot to earn my money, as far as gigs here, it's either, when there's a special event, like Pitchfork or whatever, they have a little more budget, or when it's something that a friend of mine is doing, or something that I really love the concept of, I can play cheap sometimes for fun. I'm not a monster. I have a heart, and so that's generally it. But then it's nice to have this as a hometown, because I know people from other cities who are like, "Oh man, why can't I ever get a gig in Chicago?" I'm like, because it's really difficult, you know. So if I didn't live here, it would be much harder to play here, you know. Yeah.